This is your radio, Cayman.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. It truly is a pleasure. No, I wasn't sitting here waiting for you, but I'm glad that some of you were anxiously awaiting our next installation of Talk Today. Hey, it's going to be open line to start things off. We invite you to be a part of a discussion. 1-800-534-TALK. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining us as we invite you to, take the opportunity that is afforded to us in this country as a healthy, vibrant democracy, being able to not only be critical, constructive, or otherwise of whether it's a government, their proposed policies and projects and expenditures, or whether it's of the, behavior of our private sector, but equally to complement and to be able to commend and perhaps even partner with some of these organizations and entities in order to move us forward. It's going to be open line. We had expected to have a discussion for our listeners that we thought would have been very engaging, but sometimes it takes a while for people to be able to organize themselves and their schedules and get us to that point where we can have something a little bit different, interesting nonetheless. So let's take the opportunity now to have some open line. 949-8037, 949-8037, or toll free with the kind compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. And if you opt and your preference is to listen, send us your thoughts on the WhatsApp, well, do so, 925-3261. Let's go straight to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today. Hey, good afternoon, welcome. Thanks for calling. Okay, going to get that call up in a second. 1-800-534-8255. It was there, wasn't there? It certainly wasn't anything intentional, deliberate, or on our part. Sometimes you have to question, why do these things happen when they do? Now, honored this morning to have had the privilege and true distinct pleasure to sit in the seat for Mr. Art and listen to our listeners and callers and share their thoughts. Have, Mr. Harris as not just the MLA for Prospect, the council in the ministry, but the acting temporary minister as well. So let's go to our phones and try it again. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hi, good afternoon, Sterling. How are you doing?
My friend, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm sorry, my battery died a couple minutes ago.
Oh, listen, worse things have happened, right?
Yeah, no worries. So, no, I listened to the AM show, and I was unable to get through to the lines. I think you had quite a bank of callers, so I was unsuccessful in at least trying to share my opinion and comments with the member that you had in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
But I listened in, and I heard a lot of interesting things that kind of blew my mind, because I think that Cayman is small enough, and I think when you are a Caymanian and you grew up in Cayman, you pretty much know everybody. Even if you haven't met them, you know them by face or you heard about them.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the case is. The reality is that if you're an elected official in our country, it's your responsibility to understand the lay of the land and understand all of the fundamental issues that's going on within our society and with our people, so that you as a representative who's been duly elected, have a clearer and better idea on how you would go about trying to, deal with some of these issues. But I heard him make some comments in which I think it's important that, we have a balanced conversation, which is why I was trying to call in, which, to ask him there while he was in the studio, because I don't think it's fair to him, where he's not there now to answer my questions, but I will share what my concerns were.
And again, thank you.
Well, sorry?
Yeah, again, thank you, and our apologies. This morning we couldn't get to everybody, and
that's
he
okay.
was.
I understand.
But yes, take him on board, because there's a continuing dialogue. It's not just something today.
And he made a comment almost at the end of the show that really made me kind of wonder as to what his real motives are as an elected official, when he said that if we want to maintain the lifestyle in which we have it now, we have to make hard choices to make decisions like putting a cruise berth in order to maintain a certain economic success that we have. But I would just like to share this with Mr. Harris. I don't know what lifestyle he was referring to and whom lifestyle in which he was referring to. But there are a vast number of Caymanians and people who live here who are below the water level, who are those individuals who are struggling because of cost of living and all the things that create all of the fundamental issues that they have in order to survive. And to suggest that we should maintain a welfare state is absolutely beyond me. But I suggest that Mr. Harris, the councillor, go into the areas, which he probably already been into most of these areas. So, which leads me to believe that he made that statement knowing that there are a lot of people in this country that don't want to maintain the lifestyle that they have. In fact, a lot of people in this country has fallen below the lifestyle that they once had, when Cayman was a far more attainable and sustainable environment. And to make that comment is a direct insult to people who are living under the poverty level in this country. And to say that we must increase our cruise passengers because we want to maintain a certain lifestyle. Who lifestyle? He should have went a step further and identified which lifestyle and for whom in which he was speaking to, because I surely can tell you it's not the individuals in this country who are struggling, Sterling. It's not them. They want to maintain that lifestyle. They want to get better. They want to be able to not have to stress and get sick over stress because they can't afford to pay certain bills, and we have all of these institutions in our country who are reaping the benefits of all the things that government create policies for, and we have to ask that question. I wish I could have asked the elected member who lifestyle he's referring to, and one of the other things that he highlighted in there about he read all of the necessary reports. I would take him to task. I can give him 5 reports that I know he hadn't read, simply because those reports don't speak to the tone in which supports cruise berthing. You understand? They only read what they want to read so that they can inform themselves about the things that they want to be informed about, so that they can feel better about themselves when they get on the radio and try to convince people of this country, those people who are struggling, the lifestyle that we want to change for those people who this industry don't affect. These are the people that I speak for, and I speak for everybody, including those who benefit and those who don't. The reality is that when you have a politician who has obviously gone in there and taken a bite out of the Kool-Aid tablet, I'm a little disappointed in Austin Harris. He didn't run on that platform, and here he is now getting out on the government roadshow, speaking about things that he campaigned against. It's really amazing, and it's actually pretty disappointing for the elected member for Prospect. And I suggest all of those who are in his constituency to take a long, hard look at what his ulterior motives are now, because it's definitely not the platform he ran on. And I'm somewhat disappointed that we are willing to sacrifice so much of our environment and so much of our infrastructure and all of the things just because we want to make extra dollar. And he spoke in great length about the economic impacts and the percentage of jobs and all these things. And it was things that I wanted to address him directly to, because when he talking about the percentage of the workforce and labor and all these other things, I think Mr. Austin Harris has somehow decided that he would discard the facts about what's really going on in our country. Because you and I both know, Sterling, that whatever the statistic office, the ESO website says, is not a reflection on what the actual environment in our country is. So if we want to hide behind what he read and say that that's how that is the actual consequence of our environment, that's totally up to him. But I would suggest that he stop trying to convince people that because the ESO website or this one says that the unemployment rate is XYZ, and that's not the reflection that we have out there in the real world. So it's important that we take these politicians to task, because it's not right what they're doing, and they understand that. I understand that they have taken a position and they want to see it through. But when that position is a matter of national importance, and when that decision is something that can't be reversed once it's done, we, the people of this country, have to stand up. We have to contribute. We have to educate ourselves, and we have to collectively put a valid step forward and neutralizing situations that will be detriment to our society, our environment, and to the future generations coming up.
If I could ask of you, though, as I listen to you, two things. Mr. Harris also shared this one, as he has in the past. Since he's been there, following the election last May, that he's gotten an insight, and I think this morning he used the word, sort of explain his about face, because he's gained another perspective, gotten further insight. He's now recognizing that maybe the perspective he's championing now is a better one. In that vein, how do we say that his desire now to champion a different cause and to be more supportive of it, that is not, to his mind, coming from a position of being better informed?
Well, you would think that he would reinforce his reasoning for getting into politics prior to being elected, because now that he absolutely has a inside view as opposed from the outside looking in, he's from the inside now looking out. And if Mr. Harris wants to try to convince the people of this country that things are contrary to what he believed it was in such a degree that it has changed his mind to champion these things from the opposite direction, then Mr. Austin Harris obviously think that the people of this country is naive and gullible. But I will assure you this, is that all the things in which he claimed he has a better insight on now are far worse than he probably ever imagined. Problem is that he realized now that he has some self-serving thing that he wants to accomplish, and for his own personal reasons, and that is his prerogative. But he's not going to do it on the watch of concerned citizens like myself. We will bring him to task. We will keep him honest. We will strike that balance within the debate that we're going to have in the public and in private and wherever else they want to bring it, because I'm willing and we're there. The reality is, Sterling, is that I don't care what he tried to say about what his point of view is now. It doesn't change the fact that, one, the cost of living has steadily grown over the last 35 years. No politician has done anything real to fix that. Two, we have a decline in numbers in individuals who are getting proper education in our country. Two, we got charities feeding our children that go to school, and we out there begging for money every chance we get. And three, nobody can tell me that the environment in which we have boasted being one of the cleanest, the nicest, the prettiest, the safest, is that's something we should put on the chopping block simply because we want to increase numbers or maintain our position as a desirable cruise destination and tourist destination alike. Nobody could tell me that those things are not factual. So I don't know what Mr. Austin Harris claimed that he's seen on the inside that's any different from what we see on the outside. Then I suggest he should paint a better picture than what he did this morning. The reality is that we understand that the politician bug of what they perceive to be the reality in the Cayman Islands. I want Mr. Austin Harris to tell me, or anybody in this country, show me one piece of legislation that the government has put forward that is in the full benefit of the indigenous Caymanians who have worked hard in the past, present, and future to create this very same environment that is being taken advantage of by everybody except us. Here we are in an economy in a time that has never been in it before, $2.7 billion in GDP, and 99% of the Caymanians are gated out of that environment. We have no say at the table. We have no seat at the table. The wealth in this country has not been evenly distributed amongst our people, and now that we've gone off and got tertiary education, we got more educated and smart Caymanians than we ever had in the history of this country, and we start to ask the necessary questions, and all of a sudden we're not politicians, and we don't understand, and we should be quiet, and we should keep in our lane. No. Those days are long gone.
And as I listen to you, if I'm sorry to interrupt, so asking, when I listen to what you're sharing, and let's take Mr. Harris's perspective, would it be then better that when we were challenging the government's position, that we either initially, ask the tourism minister whose portfolio sort of driving, or whose ministry is driving this port project,
right?
And see Mr. Harris or others' perspective as echoing that and being the I don't want to say mouthpiece, so that it sounds derogatory,
right?
But instead, maybe hold those who are higher up the food chain more accountable and demanding from them that they face the public relative to the questions and answers and the like.
Well, I totally agree. But if they're going to send out a wave of individuals
mm-hmm.
to safeguard their position in terms of having all of these different barriers that we have to take care of. If Austin Harris want to use himself as a stooge for the higher ups, by all means, but we take no prisoners when it comes to this particular fight. We're fighting for the betterment of Cayman and the betterment of Caymanian people. And whoever they want to put out there as a sacrificial lamb, by all means, we willing to deal with them accordingly, along with keeping ourselves focused on the prize itself. Let me just quote something that was in today's paper that was put out by the District Administration and Tourism and the Minister, Mr. Moses Kakorno. In the second paragraph of that full-page ad about the cruise port, it states, and I quote, that an EIA has confirmed that there will be no effects to the 7 Mile Beach. Therefore, that if there was any risk at all, that it would immediately halt the project. Now, Sterling, let me emphasize on the seriousness of that statement in the newspaper. Number one, the EIA, according to the paper, the EIA report has confirmed that the building of that pier will not affect the 7 Mile Beach. You and I both know that no scientist can give us that guarantee. So number one, we put an X in that mark. That's not true. That's false information. That's misleading the public. And number two, the EIA report don't talk about the residual and the after effects, meaning that, okay, let's just say for argument's sake, and I speak in hypothetically, that the build out of the pier and the design that they currently have won't affect 7 Mile Beach. Fine. Now, what about those 4 ships that over 134,000 tons that have to operate on engines to get in and out of our harbor? So you telling me that the environmental effects from those ships maneuvering in and out of our harbor is not going to have any negative impact on the environment surrounding it? Man, let me tell you something. If anybody understands water currents and water flows, you don't have to be an expert. You just go to any area in Cayman where somebody has a coastal work license. You'll see these things called silt screen, which is to minimize the silt from getting out and damaging surrounding. One simple excavator, which is a fraction of the size. And when I say a fraction, it's probably the size of a letter that's printed on the size of one of those ships. When you see that dig into a coastal area, and if you see the amount of silt that is spread out within maybe a quarter-mile radius just from that one machine, one can only imagine what will happen when those engines go on reverse thrust or even forward. And yes, their argument going to be, they're going to be tendered in with tugs and all these things. I agree. But what happens when they leave our harbor on engines? It's going to create, being that close to shore, it's going to create a lot of silt. It's going to damage a lot of marine life. And if we continue to think that there's greater economic benefits than to have a pristine environment, then we've obviously gone too far off the track. And the people who drive in this thing are obviously zombies and don't understand the reality of this thing. If we're going to embark on something, we must understand this. We cannot pick up this cruise port and move it if we get it wrong. If we base it on the analogy or the assumptions of scientists and we get it wrong and they were wrong, which we have seen in many cases that scientists are always proven wrong when it comes to mass projects like this. What if we get it wrong for that premise alone, that there is a possibility that this thing can go wrong? We shouldn't be doing it. We should focus on the existing number of cruise passengers that we have. We should enhance and create a better experience for that. We should figure out how much from an infrastructural standpoint that we can manage, and we need to cater to that. I had a discussion with one of the Hamites that own Tortuga yesterday or Saturday at the supermarket where we were doing the petition drive, and I was blown away on why their reasoning behind supporting the pier was. And I get it because they want increased numbers, but they were trying to tell me that, oh, well, because they employ Caymanians. I say, yeah, but at what expense? I understand you employ a lot of Caymanians, fine, I'll be grateful for that. But that is your corporate responsibility. You know, we shouldn't have to tell you to hire Caymanians. In my opinion, we should have laws. If you have a company in our country, Caymanians got to be working there, hands down. Now, what really bothered me most of all about that is that they are so willing to sacrifice our environment, the very same environment that attract all of these tourists to our shores every year. We are willing to sacrifice it because, one, they claim they employ Caymanians. Two, it'll create more money for their coffers and they'll spend more in our economy. These are the things that they can only argue on because there's nothing else for them to have a debate on, Sterling. There's nothing else. I said it to her like I said before. I said, you think somebody could come to my house and ask me to sell a finger off of one of my children? It's not for sale. So we have to view Cayman and the three islands like they're our kids, and Hawkeye Bay is our finger. We're not willing to sacrifice that for nobody's benefit or gain. And the one thing she said, too, that really blew my mind, and again, it's very misleading because I've seen many videos from the pro-port people saying, oh, well, if we don't have cruise berthing, the cruise ships won't call to our port. That is the biggest lie I've ever heard, and people are perpetuating that. They're saying it in the public, and I'm saying to myself, where is it? Where have you seen that? Where have you? Oh well, the cruise ship says if we don't build the cruise berthing, that the mega ships won't come here. Okay, fine. We don't need the mega ships. And then you have the other politicians arguing, oh well, they're the higher end cruise passengers. They're going to spend more money on our shore. Sterling. We are focused on dollars and cents, and we're willing to sell out our future generations' right to have a pristine environment for it. It is embarrassing as a Caymanian. It is shameful and it's dead wrong. And our politicians should grow a moral conscience because they don't understand that the very thing that they're trying to send down the river forever is the same thing that our forefathers protected that we have today. And we are not reciprocating that movement to say preserve our future, preserve our environment, and preserve the things that we have. Austin also said on your show this morning about, oh, we're not going to ever be the time that Cayman forgotten. Nobody said we want it to be. We just don't want to be forgotten, period. Everything that we do from a development standpoint should be sustainable and a reflection of who we were and who we are as people from a historical and a moral standpoint. And if we have a politician who's willing to throw that out the window simply because they want to have an extra couple dollars in their pocket, I don't agree with that. There's no price you can put on the environment and on the sustainability of our country. And no politician can sell me that argument. And I think that's why it's important when they have their road show, we have ours. We have that. We strike that balance and we create that awareness campaign that people of this country can be fully aware of all of the aspects of this thing. And that's why this petition and this referendum will be the most important in the history of this island, because then, one, we can set a standard and a precedent that the people of this country can and will stand up against something of a matter of national importance and have our say. And two, we will then be able to go out and rightfully have a vote on something that will affect all of us. I am not gonna I'm not gonna lose any sleep worrying about what they think is best for us. We need to, from a Caymanian and people who live here and people who've come to Cayman and contributed and now become Caymanians and all of those people alike, we all have to understand what made Cayman so attractive, why people come to our shores, and how long they've been coming to our shores, and those are the things that we need to protect. We cannot under no circumstances allow this thing to happen in our society without us having a full overview of everything that is surrounding it, all of the pros and all of the cons, and then we can make a good decision. And I think that decision would be not to sell out our country for dollars and cents. And that's just that's how I see it, sir.
All right,
so I guess I'll listen in. I think I've soaked up some of your time, and I hope other callers get involved and keep the dialogue going.
A number of people have called to share their sentiments. I expressed a few of them with you, but thanks for setting the tone, huh? I got a chance to chat with you. A couple more callers. Let's take the callers, Mr. Fox. What do you think? Let's go to the phones. Welcome, good morning, good afternoon, buenos dias, buenas tardes. I don't know. Hey, thank you for sharing. Thank you for laughing with me as well.
Oh my goodness!
I know Miss Norman's thinking, boy, I don't know what he had in his coffee, but I tell you, hopefully he doesn't do that. Huh?
Yeah. How are you?
Blessed and very thankful.
Yes, same here, my dear. But I can tell you one thing: your last caller put it out as he see it, and I see it the same way. I see it the same way. You can't get any. Well, it wasn't your last caller; it was your first caller.
Yeah. He's a continual caller. All right.
I know who it is, and thank goodness for people like him. And thank you, Mr. Rankin. And I say the same thing. What are we doing? Do any politicians that would love to see down in what is known in other places as the ghettos? And we do have them in Cayman, you know. We do. Not as bad as other places, but that is what they should be looking at. And it's Caymanians that are living in those quarters, in those deplorable quarters. I've been picking up people and carrying them to their well, they got to call it home. And it sometimes it breaks my heart to see no job, no this, no that, and government, we the people, is pouring money into social services because Caymanians can't get a job, so they have to go to needs assessment to get things to live from. But if they would see, if the representatives would see, because I cannot class everyone alike, would see that a Caymanian rightfully get the job, it's up then to the Caymanian to keep that job. It wouldn't be so hard on the working people and social services. They're piling the money into social services. What sense does it make? The Caymanian do have the job, so they put the money in the social services every year, more and more and more and more. And then people are piling in here, getting the jobs that Caymanians can definitely hold and are qualified to hold, and some don't need to be qualified, like selling trinkets at a gift shop and selling snacks at tours and stuff like that. And you got the expats doing that. They should be ashamed of themselves. They really should. Do they realize that in other countries, when you do that sort of thing, they start rioting? They're lucky that the people don't have an uprising and start rioting. And if push come to shove, that's what might happen. That's what might happen. By the way, what has happened to OC? I hope he's not sick.
No. He'll be
took a break.
Yeah, he'll be back with us shortly. You know?
Okay.
And,
good.
But certainly, I don't think he would mind. As I know, I always appreciate, being covered in the prayers of good people. For safety, security, and all the good things. So he's a good guy, man.
Yes. And even though you do a very good job, in fact, Radio Cayman do a very good job. You and OC do a good job, but I sort of kind of miss hearing him.
Me
this
too.
Morning,
Me too. I enjoy listening to him, man. I'll be honest with you.
Anyway, DWAYNE, another question I want to ask you. the people that we suspended from some of the jobs now running into years, do they have to replace those people and then turn around and still paying those people because they got them suspended for years and years? Nobody seems to know what they're suspended for. What a waste of money. What are we trying to do? It's all so confusing sometimes. You just feel like, that's the way I feel sometimes. And we keep bragging about how so many jobs, Caymanians were put in place in so many jobs. Are they talking about that 2-week cleanup that we had a couple of employment is really good now and whatnot? Because make I tell you, some people that are highly qualified has to take what they can get because they're blackballed. I take, for instance, my own son. When are they going to see the light that we need Caymanians to sell this island as a tourist destination, just like Mr. Rankin say, a pristine? Can we satisfy with what we're getting now and do a good job at that and stop overcrowding Stingray City, overcrowding the turtle farm, and I don't call it no turtle center. It's a turtle farm. That's what it is. And do a good job, good customer service, good everything, and satisfy with that, and leave God's creation alone. Greed.
Yes, well.
Greed. That's what it is. Thanks.
Thank you too for sharing. Thank you. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thanks very much, and thanks, Radio Cayman. Have a good afternoon.
You too, Mom. And with the greatest respect, can we ask our callers just to hang on, got to take a break. Mr. Fox is a good facilitator, but man, he says it's time for a break. When we come back, we'll grab each call. Stay tuned, please.
Babe, not tonight. I need to be rested for all-day meetings tomorrow.
What are you talking about? I was almost asleep.
You keep poking me, and I can't sleep.
That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about. Not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Watch out for great mobile value and exciting free gifts from Flow this summer. The Samsung Galaxy A8 is yours for as low as $43.25 a month, and you can enjoy 25 gigabytes of data, 2,000 texts, and minutes on a Flow postpaid mobile value plan. Sign up and have even more fun with free summer gifts from Flow, like air travel vouchers, movie tickets, sound systems, and more. Share your summer experiences with Flow. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply. Watch out, summer. Flow postpaid mobile plans are sizzling.
Attention Breeze Fusion fans and supporters, registration is now open for the 12th annual Grand Cayman Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run. We're calling on you to help us in raising funds for the NCVO and for the John Gray High School Musical Department. Registration is only $15 for adults if registered by September 30th. The walk run will take place on Saturday, November 3rd at the Smiths Bacadeer in Grand Cayman. But you must be registered by September 30th to take advantage of the lower fee. Visit CaymanActive.com to register today or stop by Radio Cayman on Elgin Avenue.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Tune in Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. Radio Cayman's Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio, featuring Will Sinatra. Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop, dancehall, and soca.
The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of Fitness Plus and Train with Dre.
Get top-rated personal training or build your very own home or office gym today.
RC Fusion featuring Billboard pop hit songs and more from the 70s to the 90s.
RC Fusion.
Weekdays from 10 a.m. till 12. RC Fusion. Brought to you by Merengue Town. Take a walk on the wild side. It's time to feel the rhythm. Time to feel the vibes. It's time for Merengue Town.
RC Fusion.
RC Fusion. Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne EBANKS.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us as we go to our phones. Hey, thanks for being patient and welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. This is Shane EBANKS here. How are you doing today?
Hey, Shane. Been a while, man. How's everything?
Very good, man. Give God thanks in all things.
Amen, brother.
I just want to add my little 2 cents. First of all, I want to say I do agree that we need a berthing facility, cruise pier. However, I disagree with the location of the present plan, and simply because of the fact that if there's even a slight possibility that something could happen that would be a harm to our 7 Mile Beach. For that case alone, I think it's the wrong location. And furthermore, I believe that we're about 20 years behind time because a cruise ship berthing facility should have been thought about many, many years ago. And seeing that tourism and banking were perhaps our own 2 main industries, and it should have been in the area somewhere along South Sound area, up Prospect area, where we can also get business 24/7. It's a safe harbor up there. And there's been many places, such as Bahamas, that have to put break walls. And, I mean, these places have had these facilities in place for many, many years now. So we are kind of trying to catch up to the rest of the Caribbean, whereas we are still a choice destination, even though we have to still tender people ashore. And I personally feel that the sports area also should have been looked at already and enhanced, that we could have been utilizing that area so that we could have a more go east tourism product. That has been, set aside. There was property in West Bay purchased when the Honorable McHugh Bush was the premier or leader of government business. That is now a parking lot for another foreign business, and Caymanians get no use of it. And all of these projects that was in the foresight before, all of a sudden becomes on the back burner. We need to start diversifying our product and stop cramming everything into Georgetown. And we need to stop playing this fair game on the people of fear, of if we don't build a pier, the cruise ships is not going to come. I've been hearing that for the last 10 years, and our numbers have steadily increased over the years. And not only that, we have had to turn away cruise ships who want to come here. We've had some up to 7 ships in Georgetown at some time. There is no diversity in our product. People are just looking at big projects, and for the most part, again, it goes back to why are we ignoring reports that have been founded that could cause a danger, and even if it's a slight danger to our 7 Mile Beach? Why would we want to risk any type of project in the harbor just for the sake of saying it's going to be in Georgetown?
Right. So to your mind, where would you put it? Right there at that intersection, or where would you put the port, the new cruise port?
Well, if like I said, it should have been done many years ago, and the right place would have been in the Southtown area. But of course now, and it's not that it still can't be done there, but because of the class of people that stay in that area, they're not going to want that in their backyard. So we missed the bus on that one, you know. But that's where it should have been. That's where all the older seamen say it should have been. And, of course, another spot would have been the North Town. But that's out of the question because it was the same thing. It will cause a lot of environmental damage. You understand?
Right. So with those two options off the table now, where would we, in your mind, should we put it?
Though, as far as I'm concerned, those that are in charge of the tendering business, have them upgrade their tenders to enclosed tenders. I've seen them around the world. Classic quality tenders, and continue to do what we're doing now, because I don't see cruise tourism going away, especially when we're one of the safest people in the Caribbean. And again, this project is being done in the name of Caymanians, and we've seen every hotel along 7 Mile Beach go up in the name of Caymanians. And me, myself, I'm not speaking for no one else, but I have everything it takes to run a business, and I do run a proper business. And for those that don't think I do, they can go on TripAdvisor and see where my little company, Tours Cayman, is rated. It's one of the top tours in Grand Cayman. Yet we can't get business out of the hotels because Red Sail and all of those other companies are in there. And it seems like no one else is supposed to get our air arrivals. So if a cruise ship do come here, a lot of people starve to death. And when this was also stated to the present minister, it was washed away as if we don't have insurance. But I want to say we have our liability insurance, $2 million. We have our marketing team in place. We market our business. We are in magazines. Yet we still can't get the business from the hotels because the concierge is not allowed to even recommend a local company, even if they know it's a reputable company and have a good track record. And that is very sad. When people continue to put things as for the betterment of Caymanians, and when it really is just a show, there's no backbone in that. There's no spine in that. That's just a saying these days. It's just like they say Caymanians are lazy. That has spread through over the island like rapid fire. Hence the reason a lot of good Caymanians that want to work can't get a job, because when they find out they're interviewing a Caymanian, the first thing they do, they put you in a bucket of lazy people. And I question and I challenge anyone who think that we're lazy people to read our history and see where we're coming from, and they can come and work with me a few days to find out if we're lazy or not. So I've been around the Caribbean. Everywhere we go, there's lazy people. I must admit that. But to say that Caymanians are lazy, to me, is an insult to us. That to those of us that do work very hard and that do want to better our lives, it's an insult to us, and it is also a detriment to our people. And that is why the government only plan that they have is to give these Caymanians that want to work clean up now, not once a year, but it's going to two times a year. But they can't find anything else for them to do. And it's really sad to see what we're coming to. And I'm going to tell you now, we're a safe destination for now. But if we continue on in this trend, where we're not paying attention to the things that is really going to matter down the road, then Cayman is going to be just like every other place where you got to board up and bar up all your windows in 10 years from now. And they better start taking this thing serious, because it is a serious problem. We have a police force. You can drive from West Bay to Georgetown. You don't cross one police car. If there's a fender bend on the road, you see 10 police cars going flying towards it. We need people to also be patrolling our street. You got 15,000, 20,000 people in Georgetown at a time, and you got 3 officers on the street. I've been around the Caribbean. You have people on beat patrol walking around, making sure that they will deter criminals. And that's how you deter speeders and these guys on motorbikes and all these other things. I know that's kind of gone off the track now, but I'm just saying, we need to get back to the basics, and people need to start working who are in these different authorities and making sure that our islands are safe and remain safe. But we also need to make sure that our people are educated. And if they continue on this trend, we're headed for doomed land. But getting back to the pier, Georgetown is not the area for it. It's going to cause problems. And God forbid, if something was to happen in the middle of that project where a serious storm blows through, what happens then? Where does all that mud slick go?
You make some points, man, that perhaps, with that continuing discourse publicly, we might be able to not only have the questions asked, but some, meaningful answers provided. Any final thoughts you want to share with us as we go to the break?
Well, I will ask Mr. Colonel again to make sure that the people that are coming here by air, that cruise air arrivals is also for the locals, not just cruise tourism. And they need to stop giving these excuses where we can't get people and have concierges recommend our companies in these hotels. Because every hotel, like I said, go up is in the name of making Caymanian lives better. And when you go there, you can't find hardly any Caymanians around.
All
So
right.
I'll leave it at that, and I'm going to keep advertising, and I know that God got me covered, and I will continue to get what I need to get from this industry. But it's the little man that I'm speaking for today. And until the minister job affects the littlest of the little man, he's failing.
All right. Hey, thank you very much, man. Appreciate
You're welcome, sir. You have a good day,
service.
sir.
You too.
God bless.
Have a safe and blessed afternoon. We got a call or a news break? Go to the phones. What do we say, Mr. Fox? The news? All right. We got a news break, I know that. It's just Monday. And we got some callers, so please stay on the line. We want to hear from you.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Spread the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
A 28-year-old Georgetown man is charged with attempted theft and common assault after an incident on August 25th on Lawrence Boulevard. Police say a man and two women were involved in an altercation during which the man assaulted the woman and attempted to steal a cell phone from one of them. He was due to appear in court this morning. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, Russia and Turkey have agreed to create a demilitarized buffer zone in Syria's Idlib province to separate government forces from rebel fighters based there. Russian President Vladimir Putin said it would be 9 to 15 miles wide and come into force by October 15th. The International Monetary Fund has warned that a no-deal Brexit on World Trade Organization terms would entail substantial cost for the UK economy. The IMF said that all likely Brexit scenarios would entail costs, but a disorderly departure could lead to a significantly worse outcome. And 4 years after billionaire Helene Pastor and her chauffeur were fatally shot outside a hospital in the south of France, her son-in-law and 9 others have gone on trial over the murders. The shooting in Nice shook the Principality of Monaco, where the 77-year-old property heiress was a friend of the royal family. Her son-in-law is alleged to have ordered the attack. He initially admitted the crime before retracting his confession. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE EBANKS.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for calling us here in this open line edition of Talk Today. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-TALK. Let's go to our phones and hear from our callers. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Frank. I'm still here.
Good afternoon, Dr. Frank. How are you, sir?
Good. Thank you very much. What you were just saying.
Amen.
I was listening to you and Mr. or the Honorable Minister Austin Harris this morning.
The acting temporary minister or temporary acting minister? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was saying to myself, if it's going to be a regular thing that the talk show hosts will be training themselves to enter into politics.
How so?
Because he seems that, he comes from the talk show, where we have had other people from the talk show. I know it's not your ambition, of course, but we have other talk show hosts that seem to be also preparing themselves for a political career.
But we also have had former civil servants. And it's a good point. I mean, in the absence of a society that hasn't had many organizations, whether labor unions or the like, from which to groom or for people to sort of cut their teeth, primarily they've come from the business associations, whether they've been members of the Chamber of Commerce. So is that a bad thing or a good thing from your...
Well, I think that
the reason why I brought that up also is because of the way he was speaking this morning. He was speaking more like a propaganda minister than anything else.
But isn't that pretty much what politicians are, or alleged to, accused to have been over the decades?
Well, some of us have some very narrow sort of concepts about what a politician is and what a politician should be like. But I do believe that a politician should be someone who is not just acting a role. The politician should be also someone who is analyzing the circumstances in which a particular country that they're involved in governing is in. I think this is very important that people have analytical tools, like the tools that you have, rather than just the ability to be able to babble. And I felt that that's what Mr. Harris was doing this morning. He was babbling because it did not make any sense. And I bring that up to say that when he was even talking about the minimum wage, and he was just trying to portray something that is not reality. And he was doing it with a speed and with a haste. There was no pauses in it. And then when for instance, he mentioned the unity government and that people thought it would not be possible. But what kind of government is a unity government? What is it? I have a definition of what a coalition government is. And when we have no actual ideology that divides people just because they say, I'm running on this platform and the other one is running on the other platform. There are no ideological differences. There are no differences in terms of the way in which the people should be taken advantage of. They all have the same idea of the people, that if we can let them think that we recognize them, we're going to do something for them, that they will vote for us, and then at the end of the day, we will not solve most of the problems that the people were complaining about. Because I also know that in the area of social services, or the area of social development, whether or not we want to bring that under the children and family services or whatever community units or prison units or whatever it is, that somehow we are continuing to drift and drift and drift down that particular lane. Nobody is coming up with any answers as to what the solutions to the inherent problems that we have in this country with regards to underemployment and the lack of qualification, the lack of technical skills, and therefore the lack of professional and social mobility for Caymanian people, which means that many of the Caymanian people do not have access to even a living wage. And how, if that is the case, do you begin to solve any problem if the people that you're representing
as I listened to you, I was just wondering, as I listened to this, or as I was listening, I was just wondering, from the perspective then of media reports coming out of Canada, that one of their parliamentarians now has splintered off from, the Conservative group to form, a People's Party, more of a libertarian approach. Are we saying now that that's what we need to do in Cayman, to get politicians to be analytical, to put the people first, to be able to be positioned from the perspective of looking at these policies as you share, and not so much as you allege just being sort of pundits and talking heads?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, basically, what I'm saying is that we should not just take advantage of the people, because the people in any democracy have the deficit that they not necessarily have the time and the skills to be able to comprehend the system and the way the system should work in order for them to benefit. We know this has been the real sort of challenge of most democracies. And so politicians should not be people who exploit that, but politicians should be people who attempt to correct the types of challenges that is caused by the lack of consciousness and awareness of people of how they should participate in the democracy in order to improve their democracy. People seem to be trying to teach people how to respect them and how to look up to them, not how to gain and have access to the type of knowledge and consciousness which is necessary for change and improvement in the situation of people. So we're not talking about changing people, we're talking about changing the, for instance, in terms of the physical and economic structures in our institutions in our society. So as long as we feel that we can say, oh, we're going to build a port, or we're going to build some hotels, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that, that means the government is functioning properly and that the government is benefiting the people. But it's a lopsided type of situation that the more we create the economic growth, the more we bury those people who we are not taking the time out to give the kind of social and technical and educational skills to be able to benefit from those types of economic advancement. Many of the young people that are questioning today with regards to the port are simply saying we want more information because what is the hate? Are we starving in this country? Are we only satisfied when the growth is causing us to bring in more and more that sink the Caymanians on the bottom level more and more to the point where they are in desolation land, where we have to build more prisons and we have to talk more foolishness about how we are going to do this and do that and do nothing, because people are at a point now where they feel they need to have a clearer perspective on where they are and where we think that we should be going, and there should be a collective effort, which means that information should be provided to people rather than rhetoric. And that's what I felt I was getting this morning. That's why I feel I get when people are talking about the port, because at the end of the day with the port, it's not saying that it is not something that is available for us to have. It is not saying that it's something that would not profit us. But the question is, do we have to have it now, and who will it profit now? And if it profits them now, will it disadvantage others later? And these are the kinds of questions that we need to be not throwing away and saying, oh, kids don't ask this, or you're signing a petition, and it just becomes very much important to, I want it because I could benefit from it, or I know someone who could benefit from it more according to the general good. So we need to come back to this whole idea of the general good. General good includes people because they're citizens, because they're human beings, and not because of talent they have, not because of anything else but their humanity. And this is what I would like to hear sometimes from the politicians. I'd like to hear from the radio shows, and this is the reason why I'm saying, if we don't have people like yourself, who I know is a great thinker, who are expressing this depth of view, where everybody feels at the end of the day somehow included, that we're excluding people by just talking rhetoric, then I think that we're going down the wrong path, because I don't want to say that I'm against something, because it's not important. What is important is that I understand what it is that is happening in my country, and that I can either say yes to it or no to it without just being hateful and not wanting something to happen because it's not my interest. So I'm talking about widening the discussion, bringing it to the level where students, where people in the community can somehow participate in it, and not narrowing the conversation to the point of those who are for it and those who are against it, those who have the right to be able to talk about the situation, get information on the situation, pull up the project if necessary, because those people who have the authority have to prove to everybody that it's for the benefit of as many of us as possible. That's the type of debate that I think that we need to not suppress in this country. We need to awaken those types of instincts and sensibilities by people who are willing to dialogue, because dialogue is really the thing that causes us to be able to reach the level of truth that will benefit all people at one time.
All right. Well, I certainly appreciate it, because you give us a level of perspective that causes us to think. Hey, thank you for your contributions, or enjoy your afternoon. Hopefully we get a chance to have you in the studio soon again. All right, let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
This doctrine is going on a long time.
Say again?
This business is going on for a long time.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's good they don't, because like last year I would almost say, well, okay, need a port, but now they hear more the facts. Definitely we don't need a port. The cruise ships we have coming here now, we have already saturated the island with people, with the beaches, Stingray City, and everywhere else. You really cannot even hold more people. But did you see the sketch in the papers today? The map the government has about where the port is going to, the fares are going to be?
No, I haven't looked at the print media today.
And call in and say, Mr. Rankin or someone, that it seems to be that they're planning to extend the solid area of the dock in there farther out.
Mm-hmm.
So the fares can be put in deeper water, they say. Right?
Right, that was the plan, yeah.
But if they extend the dock out further, it is still going to have the effects on the currents and thing there. More so. And I think it's a big insult to the Cayman Islands that now they have consulted some other forum that read something in some books, and they think they know more than the environmentalists who have been here for many years, the divers who have dove these waters for many years, and all, especially the master mariners, the captains who have sailed all around the world. They know Cayman, they know all parts of the world. And what the government is saying now, that these people they've consulted, I don't know how much they're paying them, that they know more than all these master mariners, environmentalists, and divers here. A huge insult to the Caymanians, especially the old master mariners that know these waters. Is that who they're getting the information from? You know? It's a shame. And I don't see why we need a seaport here in Alexander Moore. Right? And if that sketch that they have in the paper this morning, if that is a real thing, how far are they going to extend the solid part of the dock? And if they extend that out far enough, that is certainly going to disrupt the flow of currents across the 7 Mile Beach. And the question I've asked several times and still can't get an answer: who are going to pay for these tugs? Is the government going to buy some tugboats, have them just for when the ships come in? Or the cruise ships are going to get them? Are we going to hire them from some private enterprise that buy tugs and we have to pay them? And how much is it going to cost? Another thing I want to find out is the total cost they estimate for this dock. If they're $200-300 million, what actually are they going to be paying back? It's going to be like $8-10, maybe $1 billion we have to pay back. How much a year does the government have to put aside to pay back this loan? You know? And I can't seem to get an answer to that. And the sketch I had this morning in the papers as well, I think I heard they're going to put some more in for the freight nearer to Eden Rockway. I don't see anything of that on the sketch. You know? To me, this is just another way they're trying to delude the public of what they're really planning to do. And if the best they can do is hire some people that just read a few books and taking their advice more than the master mariners, the environmentalists, and the divers around this island, I think we need a new government. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for sharing, sir. I mean, that's the benefit and the wonderful part of being able to live where we are. 8949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Let's pause and take a short break. When we come back, there's more open line. You take your calls, so please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Brand Source Home Gallery has been appointed the exclusive Cayman supplier for Duravit bathroom products. Duravit is the leading international manufacturer of bathroom ceramics, tubs, and showers, recognized around the world for beautiful, functional products. Winner of top industry awards, Duravit collaborates with leading European designers to provide the most elegant and innovative bath products. If you're ready to bring style, comfort, and innovation to your bathroom, visit Brand Source Home Gallery to see the new Duravit showroom and meet the in-house bath designer. Whether you're planning a functional family bathroom or a personal spa retreat, browse the Duravit collection and be inspired. Brand Source Home Gallery, delivering a new standard in custom designed bathrooms. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Hey,
Hey, are those new glasses on Will?
Yeah, we went to Optical Outlook. Wham, bam, easy exam. Finally, an exam he could pass. And we had the glasses the next day. Easiest part of our back-to-school shopping for sure.
Book your child's eye exam today at Optical Outlook. Call 746-2020. Save 50% off a complete pair of glasses with any student eye exam. Now extended until September 28th. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook, located in the Caymanian Village. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Mark your calendars. Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion Walk Run is coming. Sister Islanders, save the date. Saturday, November 24th. Breeze FM and Radio Cayman will be returning to the BRAC for the 3rd annual BRAC Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run at the public beach on South Side. This year's 5K event will be raising funds for the So-and-So Club. Registration is only $15 for adults and $10 for kids. For more information, visit CaymanActive.com.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne EBANKS.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. It is Open Line. 8949-8837 or 1-800-534-8255. You can always email talk today at candw.ky. Now, this morning I had the privilege, honestly, I was honored to be asked to sit in for Mr. O.C. And we were talking to Councillor MLD, Acting Temporary Minister, Mr. Austin Harris, giving us an update on what was transpiring within the Legislative Assembly. Of course, a lot of the discussion got into the port and the like. And there's a question that came in following the opportunity to speak with Mr. Harris. It was addressed to Mr. Harris and says, I hope the government will protect our islands instead of slowly destroying it with all the dredging that's going on. So, this listener expressed that concern. So other listeners expressed concerns and comments similar to this. In reference to comments made earlier. Question asking, how can you lose revenue that you haven't made as yet? And some question, well, the money and the revenues that we're getting from the tourism sector, how effective and efficient and wise and prudent do we think those taxes are being spent? And some have shared that when we look at the tourism sector and at the port and at the lake, are we considering that for many of these cruise ships, their itineraries are, a few years out, 2, 3, 4 years even. And so as they plan their schedule, the fact that they may call at our ports, for the first time today, or they mightn't call, for the first time until sometime next year, as we hear with MSC, for instance. It doesn't mean that was just a decision that was taken lightly or lately. It's something that's been in the works for them for a long time as they align their schedules. I had a couple of quick discussions with some individuals earlier, including over the weekend and the like. And many have shared that when we're asking the question about port, there shouldn't be a question about, well, are you in favor or opposed to a port? Many have shared that if that was just a simple question, yes or no, they would put yes. They are in favor of a port. But to them, the question isn't whether you're in favor or opposed to a port. It is, well, where is the best place for the port? When is the best timing? How is the best way to go about developing this thing? What is it exactly that we're trying to develop and should be developing? As you may have heard earlier, if you were able to listen, a caller shared that this is something that we should all have done decades ago. Now, his view, perhaps the Red Bay area might have been, a preferred spot, or even the North Sound, given what he understands from our old sea captains who have shared their wisdom and knowledge and expertise and experience with us. Now, is it, as he says, too late, that ship has sailed, or is it still possible? Now, do we look, as someone shared with me, do we look at a situation where the port isn't just one central port? Maybe the cargo operations is in one location, and we have a number of small operations, across Grand Cayman, to allow the tourists to get off in different areas and for the economy to flourish in different areas as opposed to pooling it. Now, a few of you have shared and gather from some of you who are perhaps more seasoned, experienced cruisers and have taken multiple cruises. Some ports you go to, you get off from one area and then your bus transferred from that port facility to the shopping, to the attractions and the like. Is that something that we could do here? Now, granted, much smaller area to deal with. It is open line though. Let's hear what you have to share. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon. Welcome, ma'am.
How are you?
Oh, I am blessed and truly thankful.
Yeah, you're doing a stellar job this boy, morning and afternoon. That is great.
Well, thank you for the encouragement.
We need a few more Caymanians like you. That's the only one calling, in regards to this pair and these mega ships that want to come to the Cayman Islands. Sterling, we have a seasonal time for cruise ships here in the Cayman, right?
Mm-hmm.
We say we got this 6 months of business and 6 months of slowness. That is the series in the Cayman Islands, right? Do you know that?
The seasons. I want to make sure because I'm not hearing you very clearly. You said the cruise ships are called. You said there are seasons to it.
Yes, there's a saying here: there's 6 months of business and 6 months of slowness.
Okay.
Because of the cruise ship taking a detour because of
the winters. Right. Okay. All right.
I want to know if this pair was be built, does that mean that we're not going to have no SLOW season no more? Are we going to have ships coming more during the hurricane season? And I think that there's a town hall meeting to be called because there's so many questions out here that people have, and we are coming to the radio trying to get answers to these questions. I think we should go to every district and let us come out and express ourselves, and then make their note and put pen to paper and put our questions down and go back and review it and all that kind of good stuff. Because I tell you one thing, no wonder they don't want Mario Rankin in that house today because he's going to mash them up.
But is that kind of reason why the efforts of say Save Cayman, CPR, and others who are trying to say, if I may, and this is only as an attempt to try to get informed as well. I've had even up until yesterday, and sometimes I like to, maybe take some time for yourselves, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. We've had a number of discussions with individuals who have shared that they want to see, a cruise port. They want to see a cargo port, for the economy, for the, better access to goods and perhaps even at a reduced price. But for some of them, it is a question of, so many answers that are not, forthcoming, and some that are conflicting. So as you shared, now do we wait for a government to come about with those town hall meetings, or do we as a populace sort of rally and say, okay, what is this thing and how do we go about making sure that we get the best? Seeing the politicians.
We can do both, Sterling. We can do both, and we can do both things. Mm-hmm. And then come to some proper agreement down the line if you do both things. A rally and town hall. Right.
What do you make of the comments and from all sectors that have shared, well, we've been talking about this thing now for decades, let's get on with it, and then figure it out as we go. We can't keep talking forever. We just need to go. Is that the approach you think we should adopt, or should we see if we can make sure that when we go forward with the very, very best plan that we can?
Go forward with the very best.
So,
I know we need to upgrade the cargo dock down there. That's a must. But Sterling, I feel like we are not being told the whole true story, and we have to find it out after it's being built. And like they say, suppose something go wrong, they can't pick it up and put it elsewhere, and they probably can't be corrected to a certain extent and all that kind of good stuff. But Sterling, it needs to be, I know you've been talking about it for years, we need to start having some serious town hall meetings and get everybody information out there on the table and take it from there and see where we stand on this island as voters and the people of this island. Darling, I gotta go. I am on one of my jobs, and I have to go right now.
No, that's all right. But thank you for listening and taking time to share with us.
Thank
all
you.
Right.
Bye bye.
Be safe out there, and obviously, be successful as well. 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, if you so choose, you can WhatsApp 925-3261. You can even email talktoday@candw.ky. Hey, scheduled, an opportunity for us to share. Well, give us a call. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Water Authority Cayman's Survival Tip Saturday series is back. Throughout the 2018 hurricane season, the Water Authority will be posting helpful preparedness tips on our social media accounts every Saturday. Follow us on Instagram or like us on Facebook to stay informed on how you can prevent damage and minimize danger in the event of a storm. Be prepared, be aware, be safe. This hurricane preparedness tip is brought to you by Water Authority Cayman, suppliers of the world's most popular drink.
This is Caitlin Tyson, your Miss Cayman Islands Universe. Caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's can be challenging, but finding the resources and help that you need shouldn't be. For information about Alzheimer's and other dementias, call ADACI at 924-4170. Please, reach out today.
Did you know that in the event of a hurricane, water designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use? Water may be disinfected either by boiling or through the use of chlorine bleach. To disinfect through boiling, simply leave the water on the fire for 1 minute after it begins to boil. To disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. If you are not able to smell the bleach in the water after 30 minutes, then add half of the amount of bleach that was added during the initial application. Recheck the water after 15 minutes to ensure that there is a residual bleach smell. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For more post-hurricane safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
Sports fans, tune in to Radio Cayman Sports Extra Show.
Hi, I'm Bruce Lee Colson.
Sports Extra.
This and every Tuesday night, right here on Radio Cayman, 89.9 and 93.9, Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Sports Extra, 7 to 8 p.m. right here on Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. Sports Extra.
Proudly brought to you by King Sports Center, providing your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE EBANKS.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 1-800-534-TALK or 949-8037. Scratch right their phones. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon to you.
I'm calling, I have a I just want to get this off of me because I want to find out who is issuing all the permits for these helpers. These, you go to the supermarket, there's no Caymanian cashiers. You go into the government offices, you do the security work, you don't see a Caymanian. This is the Cayman Islands. I think really for every business, you should be seeing a Caymanian face first. They get the impression, I haven't seen any Caymanians around. Where is the Caymanians? Every other place you go, every other country you go to, you see their own people first. You go into the supermarket, there's no Caymanians doing cashier job. All you can hear, the kids can't get a job. They're trying. They're coming out of school. They take them on for a job. You have to have experience or you're overqualified. If you don't give the children a chance, how will they ever have experience? Something needs to be done about this. I don't know if the MLAs don't go to the shops or they don't go to the offices or they don't go to the quick fast food businesses or what. But me and many more Caymanians see what's happening. And I think all the issuing these work permits for a kitchen helper, a domestic helper, a hotel maid, a cashier. Caymanians can do it. We Caymanians used to be doing these things in hotels. When the tourists come, they look for certain Caymanians to ask, where's Mrs. EBANKS? Where's Mrs. Bowden? Where's Mrs. Rivers? This is what is happening now. They cannot come back to the island and ask for that lovely Caymanian persons that they have known for years. This is our tradition needs to be start with the Caymanians. We can do a good job. We've done it already, and I can guarantee you, if the Caymanian children get a chance, they will do a much better job. So I don't know what is happening. The politicians need to look around. Our children need jobs. They have to stop issuing these work permits for these people to come in here to be cashiers. You know, how many kids that graduate from school can't be doing a cashier job? It's a start. It's a start.
It's interesting what you share, though, if I may ask of you, and thanks for bringing it up, because it gives us a chance to relay some sentiments similar to what you're sharing.
There's so many kids graduating, and you can hear, oh, you don't have experience. When are they going to ever get experience if they don't give them a job? You know, give them a chance. Give the kids a chance. Let them know that everyone is here for a purpose on this land, and everyone needs to have a chance. I'm so sick of hearing, oh, Caymanians are lazy. And the thing is, we Caymanians are lazy. We show the foreigners how to get around here. So something really needs to be done. So I'm going to leave you, and I hope they will listen and they will think about it. Thanks. Have a good evening.
Thank you, too. Thank you for sharing. And as we invite others to make their contributions, 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Take your calls and have your thoughts. As the caller was sharing, a couple of people have been relaying that as they've been looking at some of the information the government, whether through its statistics office or whether through just some of the things that they were sharing, Caymanian unemployment is down. But they were sharing, how can it be down, or in fact be at all an issue of unemployment when work permits are increasing? As the caller reference, whether it's in fast foods or in the supermarkets or in other places, how is it that some Caymanians have shared that they apply for these jobs and for whatever reason are challenged to get a job, but allegedly some of the individuals who are working in these places perhaps may not necessarily be working with the requisite sort of work permits and the like. A couple of things have come to our desk, and we were wondering, is this just the sector understanding the conveniences of employing people in that vein, or is it that there is a particular concession being granted to some of us who are here, although not class as Caymanian under the immigration system? Maybe our immigration status allows us to take up employment, and since these jobs tend to be the lower wage, lower skill occupations, maybe we see that accepting. But to highlight the challenges, a mother shared recently that her daughter wanted to get a little job to feel a sense of economic independence. She was very much willing to encourage the daughter in picking up work, not so much for the money, but for the responsibility, for the life lesson of having to honor your obligation. It was a challenge, she said, that the daughter took up. Come weekend, you can do what you want because you don't have any obligations. She thought, if you had a job after school in the evenings on a Saturday or the like, that you have to go to work and you have to show up there, rain or shine, that may give you an appreciation for what, she said, as a mother, she has to do. It would give the daughter a sense of responsibility and an experience of what it's like to work. Yeah, it's good that you're doing great in school. It's good that you can participate in extracurricular activities, but do you know what it's like to work? Summer break, you're complaining about being in school and out of school, but when you're working, and there is no summer break, there is no winter break. And so she said, they made inquiries and found enormous challenges to find employment for this young lady, when allegedly her daughter has shared that her classmates, seemingly non-Caymanian classmates, are working in some of these occupations. And she wondered, well, how is it that you can work there, but this child is unable, is given a particular perspective. Now, I didn't share that for it to sound vitriolic, for you to look at it as being divisive. But if those things, similar to what the caller shared, is happening in our society, And it extends not just to that sort of, lower tier employment prospects, but what about as we go up, perhaps the returning college grad, what about to the individual who may have been made redundant or who perhaps feels underemployed, can't, get a better job or get a job at all, when, presumably in our economy, we have tens of thousands of people on a work permit and probably as many who no longer have to get a permit because, although they're not Caymanian as yet, they're in an immigration status class such that they do not need to get a work permit. Now, if you look at the statistics, it would sound as if, the numbers are decreasing, but is it? And is it any better for Caymanians? Hey, your thoughts, your questions, your comments are certainly welcome and appreciated as we get into meaningful dialogue. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. You can call us toll free if you so choose. 949-8037 if you prefer otherwise. Even 949-6990. You can even WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Either way, your thoughts are more than welcome and appreciated. And it's only through those discussions that we're able to get that perspective of having some sort of meaningful input. Now, a caller previously asked the question, as I think he's asked a few times in the past, to which he says he was unable to get an answer thus far. When and if a cruise, dock is built, are we going to have tugs and how are we going to work? One of our listeners has shared, says, please tell the gentleman that the shipping companies pay for any tugs used to dock their ships. So thanks for sharing that perspective. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Sterling, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry for calling back.
You're most welcome, ma'am. Don't worry.
I have to say this.
Mm-hmm.
We Caymanians are not lazy people.
I agree.
And if it is a few out there. It is a few out there. But so is a lot of other countries. Every country has lazy people in it. Every country. You know what is happening to us? We are not determined enough to put these people in the place, including some of the representatives, because that is why we issue these work permits so their salary can go up higher and higher, and it's not us saying what salary they should get, They determine their own salary. But one day it's going to stop, because if they put down our port in Georgetown, it will stop. Make I tell you, it will stop, because that is no place for a port. We cannot handle it. It should be somewhere else. If not, why not fix up spots that would cost less money, and it would be ours, not left for our children years and our grandchildren years and years to pay back. And it's not so about the cruise ships and not going to come in unless we have a port. That is left for those that want that port in there. Like Mr. Rankin had said when he was at one of the supermarkets on Saturday, getting this referendum signed. This company says, oh yeah, they employ Caymanians. Can they employ Caymanians, all the Caymanians that are out of jobs? And I know that they do have a lot of foreigners, a lot of Hondurans that cannot even speak English, that same company. And should they or any other company that comes here, any other, and make a business, shouldn't they not be happy that we, the Caymanians, allow them to do that? And should we not be first for them to employ? Boy, oh boy, no wonder some of us are getting so stressed out and getting strokes and heart attacks, because we really don't have anybody to say enough is enough. Who likes it, who don't, tough luck, then go back to their country. Then go back to the country. Now, I keep saying this. I thank Mr. Ezert, Mr. Arden, Alva Saku, Chris Saunders. I thank them every chance I get for doing what they're doing, because they're the only ones that are speaking up for us. And Mr. Austin, I believe you're the spokesperson, not about temporary minister. You're the spokesperson, because the ministers, they're supposed to be speaking and letting people know what's going on, letting us Caymanians know what's going on. They're not doing their job. They ain't doing their job, and we do nothing about it. We do nothing. We just, oh, yeah. But all I can say, Caymanians, we need to wake up. We need to wake up for our children and our grandchildren. And I don't have any, but I do have nieces, and I love them dearly. We need to wake up for them, because that's what our forefathers did. Our forefathers didn't take any foolishness. They did what they had to do to make Cayman what it is today. Most of them are dead, and I know they would not like the way that we're carrying on. We just let everything slip, and then when we do say anything, it's already done. Like that port, what they want, they're going to get, but they must remember they have children leaving behind. And I've been on cruises that you had to go by attendant. Then when you get to the dock, then they bus you into town. I've been on Mediterranean cruises and big ships that had to do the same thing. So what wrong with us? They go ahead and destroy what God created. Our beautiful beach, they go, so see how much tourism we'll be able to brag about. See how much poverty we can have in this island. We got a lot of it now. And it's mostly Caymanians, because they are not saying enough is enough, and that job is mine, because I deserve to have it. I am going to work, and I deserve to have it. Anyway, I get vexed, so I'm not vexed with you, because
No.
I love you as my brother.
Well, God bless you, Mom. Thank you for that.
And God bless you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom. Many of us are passionate about things, and I think if we can be respectful and understanding of when that view may not necessarily accord with yours, doesn't mean that they're wrong. Hey, let's pause and take a short break. When we come back, more talk today.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore,
Not all insurance is created equal, but who has the time to shop around? Take the guesswork out of your insurance coverage with Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Let us match you with the best coverage to suit your needs at a price to suit your wallet. Plus, get superior customer service from dedicated claims professionals to ensure speedy claims processing. Get your insurance through Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Attention Breeze Fusion fans and supporters, registration is now open for the 12th annual Grand Cayman Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run. We're calling on you to help us in raising funds for the NCVO and for the John Gray High School Musical Department. Registration is only $15 for adults if registered by September 30th. The walk run will take place on Saturday, November 3rd at the Smiths Baccadere in Grand Cayman. But you must be registered by September 30th to take advantage of the lower fee. Visit CaymanActive.com to register today or stop by Radio Cayman on Elgin Avenue.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE EBANKS.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Or if you choose, you can send us a WhatsApp, 925-3261. Or if you prefer, you can email talktoday@candw.ky. Here's an email I want to share with you. It's penned by Dr. Curtis Barnett, PhD. And he says, so far today, you've had some Caymanians who have spoken wisely and uttered some serious warnings. So I agree with Sashini Ebanks that there yet remains a good third option. Allow and welcome the cruise companies to continue sending their ships here to do what they so eagerly do now. Upgrade their tenders, yes, and let Caymanians give the guests a good experience. I am the firm belief that so long as there are Cayman Islands that offer the beauty and the beaches and the warmth that we now and always have offered, tourists, cruise ships and their owners will continue to want to come here, and they will come. It says, I'll hate to see, feel, smell the waters and beaches where I swim several times a week, grossly altered and spoiled because of excessively augmented shipping activity, excavations and port expansions to satisfy the desire of wealthy merchants. So this is not a riddle concerning the rich merchants' need for expanded dock facilities on Grand Cayman. If the government should unwisely, foolishly hand their planned port project over to China, a possibility that I've heard mentioned, in return for a mess of measly pottage, who would be so naive and foolish as to trust it to China? When we thank you very much for sending those thoughts through and taking time to read it. When we think about some of the sentiments being expressed to us from the widest of cross sections of our communities, from that young student who's just entering high school to the recent college grad, to that person who may call herself an environmentalist, to that budding engineer, to the person who's in our classrooms as the educator, to that parent who's thinking, how can I make sure that I have a sustainable, healthy future for my children? I'm honored to sometimes be in a position, and sometimes, quite, weighed by the fact that so many of us have so many questions, but because of our connections, our family connections, our business connections, just a friendly, hospitable, welcoming, unassuming, sometimes, manner in which causes some of us to seemingly unwillingly and unable even to get into a discussion with others. As I look at a quick sentiment being expressed to us, I'm wondering, as the caller off-air shared with me, how would it be possible to be able to get all sides to the table and to truthfully share all information with the public? He quickly shared that it seems that there's a game of one-upmanship as well as a game of sort of, playing poker, I think he put it, and each one trying to bluff the other in order to win, that hand. And he said the losers at the end of the day are going to be the country and its people, because we need to continue to develop and expand. We need to make sure that our goods can come into our countries as we equally want to expand the tourism product. But he says he's more confused now than ever. As he shared, on one hand, there are those who are championing, let's get this port done because it's good for their businesses. Then there are those who say, no, let's not do that because it's good for their businesses. And then there are some who are caught in the middle and not sure which way to go, but they're inclined to believe one side or the other because of the people who are sharing that particular view, putting their trust in those people. He said that he had a discussion in recent days, and as I expect he will, going forward, over the next few days, is to give me a better perspective. He said he's had discussions with people who are very, very much pro-port. He shared it was almost as if he didn't know better, they would have been paid to advocate their position. Likewise, there are some who are, in his mind, not so much in favor of the port, at least not as it's proposed. And if he didn't know better, they were probably being paid to say likewise. Now, he shared that the conflict for him is that these people are people he called family and friends. Some are people who are colleagues. Some are people who he's known forever, and some people he's come on to rely on heavily. And yet, if their views conflict, if they seem to, in his mind, present a perspective that leaves him a little suspicious, he's wondering, what about the others in our society, and what about the other comments that are being made? How can we trust all that is being shared? Now, he shared that, unfortunately, probably what happened to him is likewise happening to others. If they ask a question as innocently and as graciously, it may be misconceived and perceived that they're anti, or that they're somehow opposed to the person, as opposed to genuinely trying to find out, well, what is it going to be? Because he shared there is going to be a cost, whether economic or environmental. He shared that in his understanding, we can do, but we can rarely undo. And he gave us an example. There are very few guarantees in life, and if we do this and it affects us negatively on an environmental level, well, that may be irreversible. But the harm may not be one that, is end of the day, all that bad. But if we do something that is committing us to an economic, course of action, then irrespective of the consequence, we're going to be left holding the bag. And will that economic cost be one that positions us down the road and saddle us with such a heavy debt that burden causes our people to be unable to now continue to prosper? And perhaps in time, maybe we're faced with what we see as a country isn't one that is not only facing high unemployment, but little or no economic prospects. One where the people in the country see a little future. So just like you read about ghost towns in other parts where industry is closed, could we see a Cayman down the road where the face of it no longer represents its heyday? And he says that economic consequence, above all, is the one that is causing him to have to weigh whatever decision that we're taking more heavily. He finally shared that, yes, we've been talking about this project for a long time, but talk, he says, is something that can continue. The minute you put something into the ground, it's going to cost you to put it there, and probably more to take it out. And sometimes when you do so, it's no turning back. 8949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Invite you to be part of a discussion. It doesn't have to only and solely and exclusively be about the port, but it can be. And if you want to weigh in, get an opportunity to maybe share your sentiments, perhaps you may want to pose some other questions, do likewise. But if it's something else you want to talk about, perhaps it's about this whole issue, as we're now clearly starting to see emerge more and more, that despite the response from the Cayman government that what the UK is saying in relation to us being uncooperative is only in relation to one incident. That is not, an instance where we as a jurisdiction is uncooperative. That, as one fellow, said when this thing, came out over the weekend and the like, that is this just another attempt at the UK to give the Cayman Islands a black eye in the international arena, so that puts more pressure on our politicians when we come to the table in order to maintain the vibrancy of our financial sector. We may have to give up multiple concessions in other areas, and this is their skillful negotiation and diplomacy in order to keep us buoyant on one side. They take our legs out on another. Now, some of you will know better as to what transpires, but for some, is this another indication that as a people, we got to start looking at the willingness to paddle our own canoe. And sometimes you set sail, as a solo warrior. Other times, you bring on board a skilled crew. 8949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Let's pause and take a break. We got our news headlines coming up. It continues to be open line as we take your calls, field your questions, engage you in a discussion. Hey, listen, if you got a joke that you want to share with us, go right ahead. I mean, nothing beats a good laughter, especially on a Monday. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. all the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
For Cayman to reach its target of having 70% of its electricity generated by renewable sources by 2037, government needs your help. Speaking to delegates at last week's Caribbean Transitional Energy Conference, Planning Minister the Honorable Joey Hugh says government intends to roll out a public awareness campaign about its 20-year national energy policy. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, as flooding continues to inundate North Carolina, the death toll from Florence has risen to at least 23, with 17 deaths confirmed in North Carolina. The state's governor, Roy Cooper, said today that the epic storm was still an immediate danger as rivers reach major flood levels. Officials have warned evacuated residents to stay away. About 400 people have been rescued from floodwaters in the city. Coca-Cola is best known for its eponymous caffeine-based drink, but the firm now appears to be experimenting with a different drug, cannabis. According to Canada's BNN Bloomberg, the drinks giant is in talks with local producer Aurora Cannabis about developing marijuana-infused beverages. These would not aim to intoxicate customers, but to relieve pain. And a catwalk show at London Fashion Week has divided opinions about the future of fashion. We all knew robots would take over our jobs someday, but the fashion runway? Well, at CES Asia this year, robots took the runway strutting their electronic repertoire in an event they called Robotics on the Runway. Not saying they'll replace Naomi Campbell or Giselle Bundchen anytime soon, but whilst outsiders speculate, the audience in Shanghai sure showed them some love. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Okay, Ray, are we ready for another See What I'm Saying?
Yes, sir. We come with the topic breadfruit this time.
Breadfruit? How you spell that, Bobo?
We don't spell that. We eat that. Okay. We'll talk about how the mutiny on the bounty is directly related to our breadfruits. Our breadfruit we have in the yard, breadfruit we have in our plate.
So from Captain Blind to today?
Till today.
What's your favorite way to have the breadfruit?
On a plate.
Me too.
With butter.
Cooked. Served up hot.
So join us this Friday for See What I'm Saying again.
See What I'm Saying is a special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
We're coming back, you know, they allowed us to come back.
Yeah, if it's so good, you gotta do it again.
All right, this time it's breadfruit. Join us.
You don't spell it?
You read it.
See What I'm Saying, brought to you by Cayman National Bank.
This Friday,
September 21st, See What I'm Saying.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne EBANKS.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Monday, and I remember you listening to Radio Cayman way back when. Mr. Lomax used to play that song every morning about 7:40. Monday. Wow, I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. But it's still Monday. It doesn't change it. And you just embrace the day, make the most of it. So we invite you to be a part of our conversation. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Here's a quick comment on our WhatsApp. It says, the government is saying that the referendum would cost the country money if we allowed it, it says. But we must remember that it will also provide employment during that time. And then the message came to us saying, hey, listen, the cost of the referendum is the cost of the referendum. But at least it gives us a mandate to decide what is it we want. Doing the project, that's going to cost as well. And even more if we get it wrong. Not just the financial cost, but the consequences thereafter. So you can WhatsApp your thoughts if you so choose. 9253261. Let's go to our phones. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
I'm just starting. Good afternoon again.
Yes, sir. Welcome back again.
Right now, so I want to bring a different subject.
All right, let's hear it.
On the news ago, they start making marijuana-laced drinks.
Just the other headlines, I heard some discussion there, yeah?
Now, the point of hypocrisy is marijuana and other drugs. Now, the churches fight against this a lot, right?
Mm.
Now, many of those, their congregations, that some of their family had been in prison because of marijuana. They had to help look after the children. And even when they're out there, they had to get a job. And other family members have to help take care of them, especially the young children, Now, how it started? Up until about 70 years ago, marijuana was legal. But according to the AWE channel, the TV, it was some of the people started complaining that there were longshoremen were using marijuana to seduce the women. Right? There wasn't anything about the harmful effects of it. And right now we find many countries, Israel was one of the top ones, experiment with all the medicinal properties in marijuana. Now the chief thing they have with marijuana is a gateway drug. So they say that if you use marijuana, it may lead you on to using heavy drugs, more dangerous drugs, like cigarettes and alcohol. The cigarettes and alcohol are legal. So you can put a man in jail, hinder his chance of getting a job because he smokes marijuana. When more dangerous drugs like cigarettes and alcohol, there's no conviction or anything for it. It's kind of hypocritical,
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to free all those people that are using in prison for marijuana, they just put a lot of money. Instead, the government spending millions of dollars tracking down and convicting, putting people in prison for smoking the joint. You don't know how to be smoking it. If they find it in your blood, you can lose your employment and everything else. So I think it's very hypocritical, especially the churches, to fighting against something that most times it is a medicine. A lot of people that smoke marijuana do not use cigarettes or alcohol. And a lot of guys that sell heavy drugs, such as crack cocaine, they smoke marijuana to help them not to get addicted to drugs, to crack. So I find it very hypocritical, the government and the churches, this fight they have against marijuana, when a whole lot of world now is legalizing it. And I think they should really take a second look and see about legalizing it rather than convicting people for using a medicine. Okay?
Now, if we were to legalize it or decriminalize or however they would term that,
yeah, but I mean,
what restrictions or conditions would you think would be prudent, if any, to put in place?
No more than with cigarettes. You can't smoke in public places because, or like alcohol.
would you put an age restriction like you do on cigarettes or alcohol?
Now look at this. When a man go out and get drunk, get drink, he go home, he's slobbing all the place, throwing up, want to fight the wife and using bad language.
Mm-hmm.
When a man smoke marijuana, he's sitting on the floor playing with his children, spanking and joking with the wife. How many people are marijuana smokers? Have you seen that the social services have a problem with them beating the children or the wife? None. Eh? It's those that use alcohol.
Right.
And those smoking cigarettes, taking up the place, you can't smoke in office spaces. There's a whole lot of difference with a man that smokes marijuana and a man that drinks alcohol or smokes cigarettes.
Right.
Like I said, the only reason they had it because some people were saying they were using it to seduce other women, the females.
Right. But what, to the question though, would you put, like you have for tobacco and alcohol, would you put an age restriction on it? And if so, what? So
if a boy, I see young children drinking, young children smoking.
No, I understand that, but do you?
Then the parents give the young children, young teenagers, alcohol to drink. You can put all the restrictions you want. Right? If a person wants to smoke marijuana, smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, they're going to do it. I suppose you have a restriction. Anyone under 16 can't use marijuana.
So you would say under 16?
Or something, and their parents give them marijuana tea or something to drink. Would that be a crime?
Yeah.
To help, I mean, as a medicine to help the child.
But there are those who share, and I do apologize. I have deliberately to date done very little reading on it. I understand that in many cultures and for a long time, even in the U.S., the cannabis oil, the cannabis derivative from the plant and the like have been used as part of a medicinal benefit. And then there is some literature to indicate that probably in the early 1900s onwards, there was this debate as to, as you were sharing, as to, it being classified not unlike what we saw with opium and the Chinese immigrants of an early era. But in this era now, do you think legalizing it, decriminalizing it, knowing what we know about smoking and the effects of some drugs, whether it's caffeine, whether it's tobacco, whether it's alcohol, should we approach cannabis and marijuana, or however you call it, in the same vein, or should we be looking at it with a greater sense of insight?
There's a lot of children, babies, that their parents and doctors are prescribing marijuana to help them. They're pain and nothing, with cancer.
Right, but is that...
Much research on this.
Yeah, but that way that they're using it, as you said, prescribed, is that different from... again, I don't profess to know much. I don't want to sound naive, but is that different from taking it and rolling a joint? I mean, I guess I can use that word. Smoking it in some way, is that different than getting the oil, the extract, and having it under the supervision of a medical professional to say, okay, take it in this... Sir?
You can check with anybody that use marijuana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them will boil a tea or something and drink it.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm asking is that drinking it that way, is it as effective and beneficial boiling it or however you do it, taking it in that format versus taking it and smoking it?
It's more effective if you drink it than smoking.
Okay.
Because you don't get as much out of smoking as you do if you make a tea or put it in brownies or something. And anybody that smokes marijuana, they're not going to give their young children marijuana to smoke.
Okay, so with that in mind, then should we
use it as a medicine for them?
Right. So using it medicinally, is that different then from having it readily available, whether by age restriction or otherwise, to smoke it, for instance, or consume it in a different way? Are they the same, or as you're saying, are they different?
Is it different? You have when you smoke it, you smoke a lot to get a high, and and you can't take it overdose.
Okay, well,
And then when you sleep, you just fall off, go to sleep.
I'm not going to veer into that because I don't know. But let me ask though. I mean, sorry, let me interrupt. If there's a difference, as you shared, between smoking it and taking it as a tea or as an extract in however format, if there's a difference, then does that mean that we need to approach it so that if it's going to be used for a medicinal purpose, that is one way, but if we're going to use it as a, can I use the phrase, a recreational use and as a drug, do we need to maybe look at it differently then? If you...
No.
Why not?
I give a personal example, right?
Okay.
Years ago, I didn't smoke marijuana, but I was set up and convicted because some police wanted me to join them selling, and I refused.
Okay.
And they set me up, okay?
Okay.
Now, when I was in prison, I was losing all my faith in God, and I tore up my Bible, everything at home, right? Then, in anger almost, I started to smoke marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And that brought me back to my senses. It made me calm down and start to reason and see, and I got back to the Bible and started to study again.
Mm.
Right? It didn't set me crazy. It brought me back to my senses. And I guess that Christian man from my youth, and I tore up my Bible and everything. The wife knew I sent it home, so I said, I don't want to hear about God again. Right?
Mm.
But man, let's sit down, smoking marijuana. Hey, there was a question I've been asking many Christian people. They said, how long did Noah spend in the ark, right? In 40 years, I've only had about 6 people could tell me that, and the full story is in the Bible. The first one that could answer me was a Rasta in Jamaica. They smoked a lot of marijuana. Right? They studied the Bible. They're more people that smoke ganja. They know more about your Bible and God than most of these Christian people. I guarantee you that. And you can have a chat with any one of them, you'll find out what I'm saying is true. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a spiritual thing. They smoke it and they meditate and they think more about God and spiritual things. Not like a person that drinks alcohol where you want to rash up and fight and get drunk and cut.
I hear you, and I don't want to be dismissive nor disrespectful, but I'm trying to determine, in listening to you, whether the medicinal access to it, right, the medical use and the like of cannabis, marijuana, ganja, whatever it is that we call it, is that separate and distinct from allowing a person to access it like we do for tobacco or alcohol products?
Why not? I mean, if I could grow a few trees in my backyard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a choice. If I want some time to get some drive and take a smoke. But most time, I would boil some tea or put it in some brownies or something to eat, right? Because you can go to work and eat a little brownie, but you can't be smoking a spliff. Right? And there are different kinds of marijuana. It's almost impossible to distinguish what different kind you can use or how you can use it. Right? Because right now, I mean, people want marijuana. They're going to get it. They can get it still. Right? There should not be any fines or confinement because a man uses marijuana. It's very hypocritical. Right? When the chief reason for it is that if you might go use cigarettes or smoke, drink alcohol, which are all legal, and the much, much worse, that's smoking marijuana.
Well,
it's a medicine.
Right, but then again, you just shared, right, they're legal, but legal under circumstances. I mean, alcohol in this country, you have to be 18 to legally buy and consume alcohol.
Yeah,
right?
That doesn't cook them. I mean, I see young children drinking alcohol.
But is that something that we want to openly encourage, or should we be actively trying to?
I just say you can really, you can put it in law. But if I have a child and he got asthma or he's sick or something, and I know marijuana will help him, I don't care whether he's 6 or 16. I'm going to get it for him. I know a good Christian lady in West Bay that her son had asthma, right? And she was going to buy the ganja and bring for him, right? Because most of the time it is used as a medicine.
Okay.
It is also used for recreation, but it gives better it's cheaper and it's a better relaxation than drinking alcohol. It's a lot cheaper.
Well,
a lot more relaxing and a lot more. I mean, people are big over fighting their wife or children and cussing and going on, like they do when they drink alcohol. Of course, okay, you got to be 16 to publicly use it, but then you have to leave it for a parent if he wants to give some of his children marijuana as a medicine. And you lock him up because he gave his son some marijuana cheap because he had asthma. You know what I mean? Why not just legalize it anyhow? What harm is it? If
there may be more than we're willing to either acknowledge and have readily available. And if the medicinal aspect of it through the CBD and the oil and the like is different from the smoking, maybe we need to get it right. Anything final before we go to the next call?
No, that's all. Well,
Okay.
Check with Israel, a lot of research at AWG, channel TV, and we learn a lot more about it.
Well, always be a discerning consumer. Hey, thanks very much, man. Let's pick up the next line. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Afternoon, my friend. How are you?
Not good as you.
Well, listen, I'm grateful. I'm very thankful indeed. Yes.
Yes, we all have to be grateful and thankful all the time. Dwayne, I just want to touch on 3 different things quickly. Number one, you remember I was talking days ago about the issue of public bus transport. And this issue is connected now with the issue of unemployment. We have a lot of almost the unemployment according to government is gone down, but that's untruthful because what I see in the streets that unemployment has gone up maybe 1.5 times more than before. And unfortunately, it is going, those hotels and those, they're making this job fair and, they giving people some drinks and, they get some pictures in the media and fooling the people of this country. Ritz-Carlton do that job fair every year, fooling the people of this country, take their work permit, and they're not employing nobody from this country. The same thing, the Wyndham Hotel do it just recently, and they don't employ locals. You go to the Wyndham Hotel, you go to the Ritz-Carlton, you go to the Marriott. The same problem in this country it's become an unprecedented problem. And, the Honorable Premier says he wants to create an agency and all of that. I don't think it will be bringing any solution more than creating more problems. The problem is with this government need to enforce the laws of the country. They are not enforcing in the business people no laws. While we see those public transport buses, which they should be employed local people who at least have residency or Cayman status or Caymanians. Shouldn't be somebody in a work permit driving a public bus and behaving the way how this bus driver behaving. And I hear that the previous government or give him Cayman status. How they can give such a person Cayman status and he behaving like that in this country? How? And good citizens who care and have care about this country, they don't want to give them because they consider them threat to their job, to their political career. Because we speaking the truth, they don't want to give the Cayman status to people like us who speak the truth and who try to defend the poor individual I see in the road, they are suffering every day. They're not having $2 to go and buy food, or $5 to buy food. What in the world this government want to reach to? What they want to reach to? They want to reach more hunger, more homeless people in Cayman. I just meet somebody who's 10 years homeless in Cayman, and he's Caymanian. He's from Cayman Brac, and he's an elderly person. For 10 years, he's in Grand Cayman, is homeless, have no shelter, no place, and those social services, they are opening an office in waterfront in this country, DWAYNE. Unfortunately, the problem is not truly the elected government. Is more problem is the civil servants, the laziness in civil servants. You call, I challenge you, call National Road Authority, NRA, tomorrow. I called them the other day because there is a hole in the ground somewhere, and there is tourists driving their bikes by, and I called them from all these days, 4, 5, 6 days. I calling them. Nobody answer the phone, and I have to find a way to call somebody there. And until today, that little work will take 30 minutes. Never been done, never been fixed, because nobody is answering the phone. If you call even the deputy governor office 5,000 times, the Honorable Franz Manderson office, nobody will answer the phone. If you call any government office, nobody is answering the phone. The problem is, I hear Mr. Manderson talking about customer service. I don't see no customer service in civil servants. Civil servants a lot of them are in the phone. If you go to that bus depot right now, I challenge you, if you see that inspector in the bus depot, he's a civil servant. He is in 3 phones front of him, 3 phones. He is looking in the internet in 3 phones. So how in the world that is collecting a salary to do a job, watch those bus drivers, and that guy is sitting in 3 phones, playing with the internet and chatting with women, and I don't know what else he's doing. How in the world this could happen in this country? Talking, sometimes it don't make sense because you can't change nothing, but sometimes you have to talk because it's frustrating to see all of this nonsense going in this country and nobody is saying nothing. People calling about marijuana, if somebody wants to smoke marijuana or not, a ridiculous thing. People need to call and see those homeless in the road, care about the hungry people. The people can't find a job. This government is worthless. All of them worthless, sitting in this government and doing nothing about fixing the problem in this country, fighting opposition, walk out of the house, and they're collecting $15,000 every month. How they collecting money and they're not serving the people? How are they going to face God Almighty? It's ridiculous. I'm asking the Honorable Premier, how in the world you can sleep in your bed and there is Caymanians homeless sleeping in the street? How you can sleep in your bed when there is people hungry in this country? I am asking the Honorable Premier that question, and I hope he gets the guts and come to the radio and say something, an answer for those questions. And I challenge him if he can. Thank you, DWAYNE.
All right. Thank you very much, man. And I think there's a song about, the people fussing and fighting, but maybe Fox might know that one. Final quick short break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
Did you hear that Vant Motors has your sale going on now? And you get your choice on the money you'll save on your new car or truck?
My sale? My choice? Really?
Yeah, and they have lots of cars on sale, some up to $7,000 off.
Sounds pretty good.
It gets even better. You can choose to take the full discount, or you can get some or all of it as cash back.
Extra cash back would be great.
Exactly. And you can even use the savings to extend your warranty or service plan so you'll drive worry-free for years longer.
Another good idea.
If you want to upgrade with something like a new roof rack or backup camera, you can choose that too.
Wow, I get to choose?
Yeah, that's why it's your sale, your choice. Going on now at Vant Motors on Walkers Road, while stocks last.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Jano, I tired enough. This week we'll have representatives from Kiwanis and Key Clubs. I know that we're in the season of service. That's all we need, some service.
What kind of service you need? There's food, transportation, and lots of services young people need.
The word of the week, which is solidarity, solidarity. It is a noun that means unity or agreement or feeling or action.
Especially among individuals with a common interest, mutual support within a group.
I'm president of my Key Club, Lots of Solidarity.
And this week, you'll be juggling inspirational tunes.
This week we'll be having representatives from Kiwanis and Key Clubs,
along with a discussion with a doctor on World Mental Health Week in Cayman.
So join us this Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. right here on Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM. Or listen live on www.radiocayman.gov.ky and click the Listen Live button on Radio Cayman 1. Youth Flex, a program for all people by young people. Youth Flex, more than talk.
My daddy made it out of the ghetto. Believe in your dreams, believe you me, don't let go.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne EBANKS.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today as we invite you to be a part of our continuing programming here on Radio Cayman, whether it's For the Record in the mornings, on Mondays, Wednesdays, Friday, whether it's the Buzz Tuesday, Thursday, or Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation. Get involved, informed, be engaged. Hey, listen, if you're not part of the process, what do they say? It's got to be part of the solution. So 949-8037 or a toll-free line, either way, it brings you into the fold, helps you contribute. I invite you to come back tomorrow morning for the Buzz. Of course, be a part of Radio Cayman's Talk Today program right after the midday news and midday meditation. A couple of things in store for us tomorrow, including a chance to talk to some of the people from Save Cayman. They got a couple of things coming up that are going to involve our students and engage the public in a meaningful discussion relative to educating them on the port project from their perspective. A healthy democracy means two things, above all, you can question the government, and two, you have to answer your obligation to be involved, truthful, and forthcoming with our endeavors and deliberations. I invite you to have a very productive, safe, and engaging, rewarding week ahead. May it be safe, and above all, may it be blessed. Until tomorrow.